guys. Okay, I'm here to do a tutorial for you. I am going to try to start to finish on the pencil tumbler. I already sanded and painted with flat primer. Here you go. I use this flat white primer on it. So that is already started. And then I'm not going to use Mod Podge. I'm going to use paint itself so that it will hold, and in case you like miss some paint, some glitter, you'll see the paint behind it. So we're going to use some sunlight yellow, fuchsia, antique gold, dark gray, that, and black. These are the colors I'm going to use. And the glitter, banana split, shocking, white gold, and I have some black here. This is a mixture. I can't remember what this black is. It was the last little bit, so I just kept it in the cup. And then I have, if I need, I'll use some onyx black. What else? Is that it? Oh, my silver. I have some silver out, but it's the titanium silver. Titanium. Or, no, I'm not going to use this one because I have holographic silver, but I'm not going to use that one. So, let's mark it off with the tape. And I got some painter's tape, electrical tape, and I printed this out from my Cricut. I just put triangles together and connected them. So my pencil is going to look like a pencil. Seriously. So down here we are going to have the point. Then we're going to have the shaving part. Then you're going to have the pencil. Then you're going to have the silver. And then you're going to have the eraser. So let's start here. So the black is going to be here. So I'm going to put the pencil point up to this line on my tumbler. So I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm going to start with my shaving part. Sorry. And what you want to do is just, you're going to bunt this up to the black part where you're going to put your black.
Don't worry about being so perfect, because the pencil is not perfect. And this probably won't even line up right, but it will do. And this will pull off my paint because I just sprayed to paint it. But it's okay because I will be painting over with the other color. I should have, I forgot that I didn't have a cup already spray painted. And take it off.
And again, don't worry about it if it's not perfect, because a pencil is not perfect. And I'm going to just use this one.
And I need my, is that the knife? I forgot. I don't know where my other one is.
Okay, so don't worry about that because we are going to cut it down to make it even to a point. Okay. And it's going to stick to my fingers. Gonna just trim that up a little bit more.
Hit the corner.
So now we have that. Okay, make sure it's down So when you paint the other ones or you glitter the other ones, it won't go all over it. So,
Another knife, that's a knife because my lid is not right here.
so now that's our pencil. Now on this side, I want to put the eraser, so I want to use the big one. And I'm going to try to push it all the way up to the edge. And just leave a little bit of extra so you're easy to pull it off. Okay, that's my eraser. Now we're going to do the metal part on a pencil. Try to butt it right up to it. Again, if it's not perfect, it's okay.
Try not to stretch your electrical tape out too much because it will distort and it won't be even. See? So, I'll push it down.
There you go. So let's start off with our yellow.
Smooth that stuff out of the way. Bring me my paper. This could be for my glitter, but we're going to do the paint first. Hopefully I got enough paint. Move this out of the way. You can start in any way you want, but I like to do the yellow because it's the biggest part. Try to not get it underneath, like I just probably did. I forgot that that's got the name of the tumbler there, so you don't want it to be so wet there.
You want to make sure it's on enough so when you put your glitter, it will cover everything.
I'm going to try to go up from the tape, or away from the tape instead of going down like this. You don't want to push the paint down in there. Try to make it even.
I kind of like this step much better because with Mod Podge, it kind of dries really fast, and that you always have to do a second coat on it unless you really put a lot of Mod Podge on it. But this way, at least you have a background of the color of your glitter, and it will help you where the glitter is missing. So now you just want to get that yellow all over it.
Make sure you get in the corners of that point.
And again, if you need to add more at the end, just wait for it to dry, seal it to make sure it's like, so it doesn't go anywhere, and you should be fine.
Okay, let's see. I think I might have got it all. Okay, so tap it a little bit. Okay, put that there for a minute. Let's clean up some of this. Let's clean up this glitter. Put my trash can over.
Okay, now what you need to do is you need to pull off that washi tape and tape you have down, but when you do, just do it gently. Because you can pull up your
The glitter off, and you don't want to do that. I mean, some will come off. Don't get me wrong, some will. But you don't need to go really fast because you don't want to pull a big amount off that you have to repair. There you go, that's done. Now this is going to be the hardest part because I don't remember where my beginning part was. So here's the piece right here. if you're doing this, just try to do your spray paint your cup ahead of time. So you will have your white coming up if you don't want to use the paint. If you're not going to use the color paint, if you're going to use like Mod Podge, make sure you paint your cup ahead of time. Because when you do this, your tape won't pull up your paint. That's why you should let it completely dry. There you go. But I'm not really worried about that because, like I said, I am covering it. Take the glitter away. Hold this to stick.
You want a dry brush. To make sure you get all the excess glitter away so you can do the next part.
You don't want the bristles coming off the cheap brush. It's all good. I've used my brushes anyway. Okay, get this out of the way.
Now, I would normally let this dry so I don't contaminate it, but due to rushing for the next step for you guys, I'm going to do the bottom part, the silver.
This one I'm just going to use a smaller brush to make it easier. There we go. Let me get a little cup or something. But I don't want to pour this on top here, I'll have it all over the place. There you go.
Again, you want to take your time around the yellow.
Sorry, concentrating. So I don't get the silver or the gray into the yellow. I wouldn't be surprised if I do because it wouldn't be Tina if I don't mess up. That's why I chose the kind of ridged, pointy type of paintbrush so I can get there easy. Okay. Now I can just go real fast. I'm not liking that color, but good thing it's underneath. I hope you guys give it a try. Well, if you guys are Tumbler makers, and I think it's wet enough that it will take the glitter without any problem.
Move this out of the way, put this in there. My silver, here you go.
Just sprinkle it on. I might have to do that in the future, another one, because I could tell that some parts were dark and some parts was light, so you might see through it, the glitter, but we'll see. Whoop. There we go.
I took the glitter out, the one that was already down, just in case some yellow falls down, it won't contaminate it. And it looked like it didn't. So we can save this.
Let's take this off. Be gentle. It looks like it came on there, but you can always fix that with the other glitter color. Oops.
There you go. Just brush it off. That's just paint. Make sure you always have wipes around. With this kind of stuff, Wipies is your best friend. See if I can wipe that. It's no big deal because you can always cover it with the pink.
No big deal.
Okay, now just gonna let that dry, but that looks pretty good. You guys see it coming along? Next step I'm gonna do is the gold. Looks like they might have dried faster than I thought. So let's try this out. Gold, there you go. If anything, I can always go over it after it totally dries. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over it again. But that's okay. That's when you can do the Mod Podge. I told you. It's not the same if I don't mess up something.
I'm not forget to put the thing down. I'll put that away in a minute.
That's fine. I just gotta go over it again. That's no big deal. Here, let me put this up for a minute. Now we're gonna do the black. I'm gonna let that dry and then I'm gonna go back on it when I'm finished. There's a possibility you're gonna have to fix up some spots later anyway. So let's do some black.
Yeah. I don't need that. I can just use it. Clean my brush. Just gotta get the top first. And just go to the line.
Okay. Move my black. I'm just gonna shoot it like go down angle because I don't want it to go under the gold, just in case the gold is still kind of wet. Get on the edges.
I'm gonna pull that off so I can get the bottom. I'm gonna need everything else to put that on the bottom. Sorry if I'm in the way. That looks good. I think. No, there's a piece right there. Oops.
There you go. That looks good.
Let's save the black. Glitter is always everywhere in my house. See how this is. Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna do the pink.
I don't want to this one. This one's fine. You just want to get it all around. Making sure I get the edges. Okay. See how this comes out. Put that in there. Put that. There you go. And I can see that this is very fine, so might need another coat. And kind of wet in the glue, but that's okay. I can always brush it off. That scares me. There you go.
Okay. Now, this is how it is. Again, you should always make sure you let this dry in between because you don't want to let them mix. You want to try to keep glitter, the silver with the silver, the pink with the pink. Okay, so far that looks good, but I do have to do a touch up on the gold. Stop right here to do a touch up well, I'm going to use not the paint this time. I'm going to use the Mod Podge and kind of get that. But I want to, let me put this down for a minute. There we go. This thing doesn't want to come off. There we go. Let's try to get this fixed. And you guys know what Mod Podge, you don't wipe, because you will pull up all the glitter that you
Man, my lines are busted. I can't draw a straight line or paint a straight line. I like the pencil on it. Oops, see? It wasn't dry. It's all good. See, and that's all you have to do to fix up any miswork. Put it down for a minute. Where's my... Here. Just gonna try to go over it.
or did this, whatever you call this. Okay, guys. Now the next step is just, let this dry, and then we can do a clear coat over it. After it dries, you want to wait until it's officially dried, so it doesn't fall off. But after you let it totally dry, again dry, let it dry, spray some matte clear spray over it to protect it. Okay, and it should not mix when you start doing the epoxy. So far that looks good. I'm okay with that so far. So I'm gonna let this dry and I'll be right back. I let it dry and I did the little touch-ups that I needed, and this is the one I did off camera, but this is the one I did do on camera. So it looks pretty good. So now what we're gonna do is put the epoxy on it. Now I already mixed it because it takes about 5 minutes to mix. So I have Aluminite clear cast. I put one part, so 2 ounces I used. It's going to definitely be more than I need, but I'm going to use it in something else. So this, I try to make it as level as possible. You want the cup to be leveled. My table is off, so that's why I have the piece of wood underneath it. So let's get started. Use gloves, use a mask, but due to my basement being wide open, windows open, door open, I can't talk with it on my face. I can't breathe very well with my face, but
Here we go. I'm just going to use whole hand. This is in a weird angle. Again, I am kind of messy when it comes to this. And me being in a weird angle, I'm going to be really messy.
but you want to make sure you coat your whole cup. And with glitter, to be honest, with glitter, it's gonna, especially chunky glitter, it's gonna take a lot of epoxy. It's gonna take a lot, and you'll be able to tell if you didn't cover it, because you're gonna see. Sorry, I had the cup in the way. You're gonna see what's shiny and what's not. And this will definitely need 2 coats at least, because I will be doing a decal on it at least. Let's do the bottom. To be honest, no matter what you do, you're still gonna have some glitter that went astray. This, when you have your turner leveled, the epoxy will self-level itself. Yeah, I got some black in there too. Trying to see if I can bring it down out of there. But to be honest, when you're mixing different glitters on a cup, don't be surprised if you get glitter in different spots. No matter how much you seal, you're still gonna find some glitter. I'm sorry, you will. So now what I have to do, I have to let this sit while it turns. It will turn at least 4 to 6 hours. And then I can come back, put the decal on it, sand any bumps and lumps, and then do another coat of epoxy. Okay? Okay, now it's time to sand them because they're dried. Let's move this back just a little. Okay, so as you can see, it's still got like little bumps. I don't know if you can see it well, but you can feel little bumps on them. That's because the glitter was poking up. So you could take a sand brush or sand brush, a sand block. I got these from the dollar store, and just go over it gently. Don't go so hard because you only have a layer of epoxy over those and the more you sand, the more chance you're gonna rub off the epoxy and be hitting your glitter. So do that gently. So I'm gonna do it over here by the trash can. Just gently. You wanna wear a mask because this is epoxy you are sanding. Just see how I'm doing it? See the little whiteness? That's the sanding part. And you can do this over, water to make it easier. Okay, this is good so far. This is how it looks. I don't want to sand it down too much. It's going to need maybe 1 or 2 coats of epoxy on it. Depending on how much the glitter pokes through. So that's that one. And this one I did offline. Move this out of the way. I want to get all the sand part off first. And then I'm going to dry it and spray it with some alcohol. You see how I sanded that and it was kind of like scratched up, but now look at it again. All this will go away with when you put epoxy on it. You see how that is? I'm just getting all the debris off. Okay. Now I need, okay, If you only have paper towels, that's fine, but I recommend using coffee filters because paper towels will leave behind fuzz. Ask me how I know, because it has happened several times. But when I use these, it don't leave anything behind. Whoop. Excuse me. And that was loud, Ashley. So that's me cleaning. And you want to do this before you put your decal and your another coat of epoxy, because you want to make sure all your finger oils that you touched on it is off, because if it's not, the epoxy will appel. It will make like kind of like fish eyes, like dimples. So I want to put this back on. Oops, too close, too close, too close. Oh, I got more alcohol there. I don't know what happened to my spray bottle. Okay, so that looks good. Again, just make sure you get all the debris off. Try not to touch it with your hands. Okay. I mean, if I have to do another wipe down with alcohol, I will. Because right now I got to do the decal. So, the decal is Teachers Are Magical. Okay, I cut this off on my Cricut and I made it kind of like a little slant a little bit so it will sit on the cup perfectly. Okay, now I got my vinyl. I got this off of Amazon. I actually like this. It's one of the better ones that I have gotten. You just make sure it sticks to your transfer tape. And I'm just going to eyeball it and put it down. Push it down. Oh. Make sure it's all down. Almost had a collision right there. Almost messed that up. It is kind of crooked, but I don't know if that's my fault or the way I did it, like right now, or the way I did it on the Cricut. But either way, it's still nice. There you go. And do this one. Yeah, that's the way I did it on the Cricut, so they're fine. Because I noticed the C and the E is here the same. You want to always make sure, as you can see, I'm touching it. I'm going to have to put another alcohol wipe down on it. There you go. Oh! Nice. Gently, 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 gently. There you go. Do, 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 do. Try to find a nice spot. There you go. And take it off gently. If you find that your transfer paper is too sticky or too tacky and doesn't want to come off, your vinyl doesn't want to come off, just take it and do that to your clothes. And the lint from your clothes will help it unstick it so much, because that's what I've done, and it comes out awesome. It's not so sticky. Just move you out of the way.
Push you over there. Give me some little bit of alcohol. I still can't believe I found alcohol. Oh, I found it. Found it. There you go.
Now the next step is, let's get the epoxy ready. This time I didn't have the epoxy ready. The reason why I have them here, I don't know if I told you earlier, is that I'm trying to make it leveled, because if you have, where's my thing here, if you have it off, you'll have a bubble butt or a bubble gut, or what I mean is that it will puff up at the bottom too much and make it kind of like a little poof, and on the top too it'll make a little poof. I mean,
It's a little off, but it can be handled.
alright. Now, epoxy time.
I'm going to use a bigger cup because I have 2 other cups over here I need to do. So I'm going to make a big batch.
And again, I'm using Amazing Clear Cast. I like to use the A first because it's thicker. And I'm going to use 2 ounce each. I just got bottles from Amazon that will help squeeze out perfect amounts, so I don't have to use measuring cups, but I haven't transferred over to that bottles yet. Hope that helps. I think I'm almost going with this. I don't want to overdo it. If you have it uneven, the ratio, it will come out to be like, it could come out too watery, it could come out tacky, it just will not cure for you. So now, this is, you have to stir slowly and take your time. You can see how it's mixing. You see how it looks kind of cloudy in there, like streamy. You will get bubbles. I'm not worried about the bubbles, but I don't want so much of the bubbles, because then I'll have to use the heat gun to try to get them later. So you have to just keep mixing. Until all that cloudiness goes away. It's 4:52, so you want to at least do it for stir for 5 minutes. It could be longer depending on your weather around your area, but you'll know when it's done when the cloud is gone. You can tell. Like, that's still kind of cloudy, stringy. And again, wear your mask. I don't have a mask on right now because I'm doing a video, But I do have my door open, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows is open, plus I have a fan blowing. Make sure you wear your gloves. I'm glad it's nice outside. I mean, it's kind of rainy, but I'm glad it's nice outside that I can open my windows. Make sure you get the sides. I wanted to actually show you the resin part so you guys like will know that this is not a fast job. You can't, you know, expect it tomorrow to be finished. This is, at least depending on what epoxy you're using, it could take 72 hours. Some of them could take to 72 hours to cure. I mean, there's bubbles, but that is a lot better. It's clear. It's not 100% clear because of the bubbles, but it's a lot clearer than the strings and the cloudiness that was when I was mixing it. So far that is good. So I want to let that sit for a minute.
Get my gloves. Throw it away so I don't use it again. These are tariff-free, latex-free. Got from my local hardware store. Turn the cups on. Make sure there's no glitter on your gloves. And put some down, because I am a messy one. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to start with this one first.
Again, that this epoxy is self-leveling. If it's not a level turner, your epoxy will have bumps in it. That's why you must make sure your tumbler is sitting on its turner leveled. And you see, it's all the little sanding, cloudness of the sand is gone. It's coming back out clear. Make sure you get your bottoms. Oops. Get your edges. I want to go around the side like this just to make sure. Get your rim, because if your seal breaks, water will get underneath it, so you want to make sure there's epoxy up there to seal it. You can always clean the extra off, and I will show you that later how to do that as well. Okay, I believe that looks like I got it all, so let's do this one. Who watches TikTok? It's like, oh, I'll watch it. It's nothing to do. I swear it'll grab you in, and you'll be there for hours watching TikToks. And I've noticed there's a lot of creative people. And that song that I got in my head, it's driving me crazy because it's stuck in my head. If you guys want to go over support, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. If you guys wanna, it's in my description if you guys wanna go over and help support me going. If you guys are not a subscriber, can you help and support by subscribing, giving a thumbs up, share if you want? So I think, nope, right there. See a little spot missing. You'll be able to tell really if you go up and down your cup. You will be able to feel if there's a spot missing of the epoxy, because your glove will kind of get stuck like rubber would do, get stuck on a dry surface. I just want to make sure I got it all, because one of them is going out to somebody for purchase, so I want to make sure that at least one of them is perfect. You want to get a heat gun. I don't think this is going to stretch all the way over, but do my best. You want to get all the air bubbles out if there's any on there. I don't see any, but I wanted to tell you guys, just do for benefit of tutorial. Plus, you can also use a torch. I have one here, as you guys know. I got that if you watched my haul. I had got one of those in my, I had purchased over at on Amazon. And this is what you do, making sure I don't have it all over my hands. And you just go over it fast. This will pop any air bubbles you have. But you gotta be careful, because epoxy can catch on fire if you let it sit too long in one spot. Plus, it will burn your epoxy and make it hard, and you will have to start all over, because more likely you won't be able to get it off easily. You will have to cut that part off, and it's not an easy job. I had done that once. Yes, I have done a lot of things once. That's how you learn. So far it looks good. I would just let this sit, and then I'll come back and do the next part. Okay guys, they are dry. It's been 24 hours actually. So they are totally dry. And I know that I need to do another epoxy, because I can still feel some of the glitter that didn't get around here. Okay, and there's some little rough from the glitter, so I can just go over it with some sandpaper again and do another thin coat of epoxy. But that's how it is so far. So I showed you how I put the glitter on, how I did the epoxy, how I did the vinyl, sand then vinyl. Now I want to show you how to clean the top. And it's actually pretty clean inside, but there's still some particles in there. So I want to pull that out. There was some resin on that. See, there's some stuff in there. That was on the, what do you call it? Foam. Pool tube, whatever you call that. So you see how all this is. So you want to take your X-Acto knife and just go in on an angle. Okay, an angle, and go around and get any extra epoxy off. You see how there's some on there? Oh, I lost it. More will come up, trust me. Here's a piece right here. You see how some epoxy's on it? So you're gonna get that. There it is. See how easy that's coming up? You always want to clean your epoxy, but you don't want to go down like this because it's a possibility that you will scratch it, pop it open, the water will leak down, and it will ruin your tumbler.
So that's pretty much clean. I'm just trying to take my time so I don't go down the cup and scratch it.
And you see how there's a little bit of resin inside? You just try to get it with the X-Acto knife. Poke a little. There you go. Comes right off. And that's it. Right? So then you take a towel, paper towel. And now where is it? I should have thought about this before I started the video. You need your acetone. Oh, here it is. I keep forgetting where it is. I'm using this is from the dollar store. So try to get like 100% acetone. But the ones you get from the dollar stores should be fine. You just have to do a little bit more work. And you just go in and around.
See that? Let's do it one more time.
Try to spray it away from that cup because I don't want it to mess up. All that hard work, you don't want to mess up your epoxy. You want to try to take it on top your lid just a little bit. So if there's any extra paint or anything that's left up there, it will come off. And that's it. And then everything will be good. Then you take it and you wash it with a little bit of Dawn. Clean it up. Dry it with your filter and let it sit for the remaining of its time. I will give it 3 days to have it officially dried, done. When you're not from your last epoxy coat, you want to wait at least 72 hours before you give it to somebody. It will be best. So that's it. That's how I do my tumblers. And this one, I didn't know that there was epoxy on the styrofoam, so I'm gonna see if I can get that out. Off. Yep, came off very easily. Very easy. And if you don't want to do it like that, because you're afraid you might scratch the inside, so take some acetone, spray on it, spray on your napkin, and just go inside. You might have to do it a couple of times, but that's okay. At least you know you're not scratching your tumbler.
It should be easy to come off. That is easy to be honest. Because there's times that I got epoxy in there and did not clean the cup right away, and it was forever trying to get that off.
So let's clean it around. The reason why I'm doing it like this, holding my finger here and here, is because I don't want to have any, I'm having more control doing this than doing like this, because I had an incident a while back. That's why I was kind of away from YouTube a little bit. I had cut my wrist from here to here with a box cutter, so I'm kind of don't like to use the X-Acto knife as much, and I'm more cautious, keep the blade away. And like I said, this is more controlling for me. And I take my time at all times. But that was my fault. I mean, can't blame the X-Acto knife. The X-Acto knife is doing what its job, cutting. That's why you need to focus and pay attention to what you're doing.
At all times. And again, let's do the inside.
There you go. All that's left in there now is just the napkin particles, and you can get that out when you wash it with Dawn soap. Dawn. I prefer Dawn because it works very well, but dish liquid. And there you go. There is this one that I did with you guys. I got a little bit of that stuff on top. So this one I did here with you guys, and then this one I did offline. So that's it, guys. That's how I do from beginning to end, start to finish, of how I make my tumblers. And that, so far, I've been doing this, making these cups. It took me already a week to prepare for this video, because like I said, you have to wait in between doing the spray painting your cup. Then you have to wait. Then epoxying, or not epoxying, the glitter. Then you gotta wait. Then you gotta do the first layer of epoxy. Then you gotta wait. Then you gotta sand and then do another epoxy. Then you gotta wait. And well, the decal comes with the sand and then the next epoxy. Then if it's still a little bumpy, you gotta sand it again and epoxy it again, because it's nice if you sand it when you feel these little grids, little bumps. You can't really tell, but if I can tell it, then the customer can tell. And you don't want to sell something that you're not okay with. So there you go, guys. You like? Give me thumbs up, share. If you don't like, I don't care. Give me thumbs down, but I prefer the thumbs up. Subscribe if you don't mind. I'm trying to get my subscribe count back up. And what else? Until my next video, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.